It's a counter matchup. Or in a lot of our LCK mids minds, it is a counter matchup. As Shen, that would be fun.
King is teasing, man. He's cracking up right now. He's like, oh, I could do this. I won't, but I could.
That would be 2 ninjas on the Rift. And in the old days, that removes 1 damage point from each ninja because they work better alone.
It's the Sion pick. We all know it.
All right, so Akali getting that 1 damage point back again. Love to see it. And that's going to be locked away. So there we go. There is Sejuani instead of Vi.
So Akali instead of Victor as well here, and the Vi coming through instead of the Wukong. I do think this is a better draft for Brion to push their win conditions, and Zeri Lulu will not have, like, Viper and Life are not just going to have the free barrier push into turret this game. In some times in the lane where it's actually just straight up a 2v2, they might be able to get some advantages there, but it won't be Clid finding the same sort of dive power here on the Sejuani. It can still ult, and there are ways to make that happen, but Vi into this matchup should be able to get there and stop that from happening, make it a much more risky decision. So overall, I think that this is an improvement from what Brion drafted in the last game. They made some adjustments. Do I think it'll be enough, though? Right now, I'm going to have to say no. I think that some of the same problems they had last game, they have here again. At least Akali can threaten the backline and can circumvent the Sion. So, you know, it's not just a Victor hitting the Sion repeatedly. It's an Akali trying to maybe find an Azir in the backline, trying to threaten a Zeri. Maybe a Lulu becomes under threat. But in neutral objectives, when we have the Azir building straight damage again and poking away, it becomes very difficult for this Lucian to actually close the gap and do damage.
Yeah, it's true. And I'm just really glad that we're on 13.1b and we've seen such a, such a development of the meta, because these picks are brand new, really getting to explore a new avenue for League of Legends here in Korea.
They got an extra ban. They didn't have to ban Yuumi, all right?
Hey, that's true. That is absolutely true. So we're going to have the same draft, basically, into the same draft, basically, and we'll see whether we have the same game, basically, or whether it is slightly different. It could be. Different buttons might be pressed at different times. Maybe no flash at level 1. We'll have to find out right now. All right, well, big adjustment here from King, and he has gone back to his old occupation, which is lumberjacking, lumberjackery. Is there a word for that?
I think it's just lumberjacking, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah. Right?
I don't know.
If you try to, like, make the gerund or whatever it's called.
Study it? Like lumberjackography?
I don't think so, but I think you can get certified, in certain fields like logging,
Yeah.
Whether you can use the machinery required chainsaws, blade saws, these types of things that we'll do with
blade saws. That sounds like a Final Fantasy weapon.
It's the exact opposite of what Sion is going to do in this game. That axe looks like it hurts a lot, but it really doesn't.
No. He actually upgraded from a hammer to an axe in this game, or downgrade. I guess it was like a robot hammer last time. He's like, I don't need this. I'm not going to be hitting anyone with it. I'm just going to go back to my axe in case I need to chop down a tree.
What was the name of the Soul Calibur character that had the big axe with like his heart sticking out? You play Soul Calibur?
Oh yeah, was it
Astaroth? Something
Astaroth,
like that?
yeah. So I played Soul Calibur 2, and he was definitely in that one.
Like if Sion was a Soul Calibur character, like he would do a lot of damage when he hits. He'd swing really slowly, but in this game he just
he'd be like Zangief.
Yeah,
but not a wrestler, more like a lumberjack.
There's actually some pretty aggressive trades here for King, and he takes early. Doing pretty nice with those.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that he's got Flash at level 1 as well. Able to change around that one as Viper dashing forward, hitting that level 2 before the bro bottom lane.
You get the shield from Lulu level 2. You try to put on a little bit of extra pressure. Doesn't end up leading to anything, as this ward is going to spot Umpty.
Ooh, a change-up? He's going to clear a ward. All right, there we go. That's the development that we've had so far.
He got a heal.
He did. Well, Clid is going to find Umpty here.
Because they don't have enough control, Umpty has to leave.
Yeah. Gonna back away. Now it is Viper and Life able to get themselves a crash if they would like it with the help of the Sejuani. And Ripscutlet going to be spawning now as in goes Henna. And same to be said is now Zeka going to get out of the way of Umpty. Shuriken backflip not going to land. And well, just to talk about the game for a little while.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, so what the Carpet Space came up with was actually pretty poignant, I think, about the fact that Sion is basically immortal, or was in the last game. And I think that that problem for Bro has gotten worse.
I would agree. I didn't like the build from Karis last game, just because you're going to be hitting a Sion mostly. This is what we talked about in the cast, with the desk echoed in a little bit more detail. And the Akali will also not hurt the Sion. But what the Akali can do is potentially get behind the Sion. And I think that's kind of what this game has to be about here for Brion. Karis needs to be able to threaten Life, threaten Viper. Because in terms of frontlining, there couldn't be like less synergy for the Lucian and the Akali trying to break through the front line straight up. Like front to backing is not going to be a thing here. That's why Henna needs to get ahead early, as he did not do in the previous game, and use that Gale Force spike that we talked about. That didn't happen.
Yeah. Ooh, okay. Arctic Assault on cooldown. As Umpty's going to move in. Winter's Wrath cleared behind enemy lines again. Umpty distracted by a ward. That'll get him. Ring around the rosy from the Sejuani. This is very cute. Clid's going to look to make his way out or look for an engage onto Karis. There he goes. Wow, so sneaky. So sneaky.
We're going to make the new hashtag cool Clids never flash.
No, they don't. Yeah, they definitely don't. We are going to have the Cool Kids That Never Panic playing after this.
Yep.
So it's competing hashtags, but I think it's different enough.
So,
yeah.
Slight lead to Umpty in the jungle clear right now, but Clid has a little bit more available at this moment in time, so he should be able to catch up in terms of camps. But as he is doing so, Umpty has an opportunity to punish Viper and Life if they push too hard here towards the turret.
Yeah.
There's no barrier here for Viper, so this is the time you're looking for bubbles, you're fishing for some of that Lucian piercing damage. But I mean, this is just not going the way that Henna and Effort want it to, and 3-6 for Umpty if they just keep this wave back towards turret. Not much he can do.
Well, Morgan gonna get another demolish. That's a plate. Going over to the Kasante.
Yeah, doing much better this time around in this lane.
Yeah. I wonder whether Morgan is going to get a kill, death, or assist this game.
I'd say pretty high chance. You know, I think last game was a bit of an anomaly.
Yep. Charging up for it. We'll have to see. It'd be pretty cool if he has the full neutral.
That would be pretty insane. The stats are getting really averaged by those zeros.
Severely. Not negative, though.
No?
So
not positive either.
No. Maybe he just really liked his KDA and didn't want to touch it. You know? It's like, no. I won't.
Keep it the same.
Yeah. Let's not augment that at all. As Bro is going to be able to take the first Drake. It's going to be a Cloud Drake next. So a few cool options. Also, potentially the Chemtech.
These are
available as Umpty, lying in wait.
It's like the same Drakes, but in a different order. This last game as well.
Yeah. I mean, there aren't very many similarities between last game and this game, so I'm really glad that at least we're having the same Drakes. That's helpful.
Fitz Mountain again. I mean, better hope you do better this time, Brion.
If the like Mountain Rift starts to come into effect and then we get a pause, it's because the players are like, hang on, have we accidentally gone back in time? Has there been like some sort of rift opened up and we're just in game one? Not sure. Of course, I mean, Umpty and Clid are playing different champions now, and Karis is also on the Akali instead of the Victor, so it is very different.
Umpty hasn't been able to really make a big impact this game, 3-6, you know, and he's getting closer to hitting level 6, obviously, where maybe he'll have some power, but oh man, this is nasty.
Emperor's Divide, the special delivery as Karis gets out of there. Oh, that was fancy. Just wanted to press some buttons. Of course, has to, you know, use that.
Use those cooldowns.
Something, yeah.
Use that before that runs out.
Yeah, got to.
Well, Zeka setting up some potential first blood action here, but it is eluded by Karis. His ult is down now on cooldown, and here comes Umpty at level 6. Viper and Life should be respecting this.
Certainly plays into the
doesn't have much defensively he can use. Should be respecting.
First blood, in goes Umpty, finds the Vault Breaker flash, and there is the bubble as well as Viper just skids his way out. It'll be fine.
Any Zeri enjoyers?
Yeah, anyone thought that was going to be a first blood?
Nah.
No.
He did have to use both of his summoners, and Life used his heal, so still a successful gank in that regard, but you know, Brion aren't happy with this. They wanted more, right? And now Viper's actually allowed to stay in this lane and push this wave in. Gets a nice back timing here too, and I mean, Clid wasn't there at all.
Yeah.
I mean, he was, I guess you could say in the size of Summoner's Rift, like relatively close by, but he wasn't involved.
He's on the map.
Yeah.
He's in the game.
He was on the same side of the map. He was just very far away. And
sitting 2 seats away here in Lowell Park.
He's on Gromp, right? And because of that, I think Viper and Life really showing no respect here whatsoever without knowing where Umpty is. Any other champion dies here and is punished super hard. Zeri gets away. It's all right. It's all right. Don't worry about it, he said.
Yeah. Oh, poor Umpty.
And that's the frustration, right? You flash for this, you look for this gank, you get release dated by Zeri, and you know that's the end of it. As Viper was definitely greeting super hard in the lane, but isn't punished, and you gain nothing, unfortunately. This will be your secondary teleport as a Scion player.
The amount of bass that was in that was actually kind of epic. It was rumbling Lowell Park here.
Oh, I thought you said based at first.
No, I didn't.
Pretty based though.
No, it was pretty based. Based on a lumberjack, I think. One that runs pretty quick with his axe in front of him. Yeah.
Based on a true story called Game 1. Based on the records of Game 1, we've tried to replicate it. This is the movie adaptation.
Yeah, this is the movie adaptation. We'll see whether it has a happier ending or not than game number 1. As, you know, real life is often less interesting as Umpty's dead. Oh, Wild Growth comes in. The bubble is good. Oh, Viper's going to be taken out. And first blood actually goes to Henna in the end. Some unexpected excitement as now Clid's going to go down as well. Epic grabs that kill as the ult comes through for Karis. Life is just a little Lulu with a dream, and that dream is a nightmare, I think. There we go, 5-point strike, and Karis ults his way back to the lane.
Without Zeka being there, this is a really greedy fight to take. Clid doesn't flash because he knows that Karis is there. If he flashes, he's going to be a flash down, and the kill goes to the Akali really easily. So, really awkward here. Zeka playing with fire right now.
Yeah, is actually going to look for the Emperor's Divide, but doesn't find it. And Karis just gets himself out. Zeka going to survive. Still has flash.
That was very scary there for Zeka. Had a big minion wave, so it felt pretty safe, I guess, to pull that one off. But finds himself with a 20 CS lead and tries to kind of be aggressive here to stop some of that farm from the Akali. As this is just a lot of greed, right? As Life comes over here, you've got Clid on top. So you're like, okay, we got the Wild Growth angle here, right? But it's used onto the Zeri, who's just chain CC'd. And maybe if they actually ult Clid with that Wild Growth, they get the pick faster, and this ends up being a totally different story where Clid doesn't take that much damage. As a result, he doesn't flash here because he can't do anything against this Akali. Life is just left out to dry with no ult.
Yep.
No sums.
Yeah, no options. Gets a ward down. So there's that. But that is the only real good news story is, all right, the movie adaptation seems to be a little bit more Brion-based, Wolf, to go back to our original conversation.
Wait until Steven Spielberg gets his hands on the LCK, man.
I know. I know.
It's going to be a sick movie.
I just really hope that the soundtrack's done by John Williams. That's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah. That's what we deserve.
Yeah, that's what we deserve.
Well, despite all of that kerfuffle on the bottom side and Henna picking up first blood, they're still going to lose some plates down here bottom side. Clid does have flash, so it can, you know, use the flash for his Arctic Assault. He has ult, so some respect being shown here while Umpty is elsewhere.
Yep, and, you know, we did have deviation into Action Land. Our players didn't like that very much, so we're going to go back to just chilling. As this Drake is alive right now, we'll see who is going to be able to pick that one up. Right now, it is a bit of a back timer for Life.
A lot of control wards here set up for Brion, so there's a little bit of a lack of vision around Tri-Brush and bot. Anything basically south of the red buff. Unlike esports have to be wary that Umpty could be there, so not deciding to take that, even though what we know is they were closer and they probably could have rushed it down. That's the next kind of exciting thing is, ooh, we have a Drake fight. Okay, here's that Cassante angle.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get excited, but Wolf, like, it's a Scion. Morgan's pressing a lot of buttons, though. All right, Flash is going to come through here as he's trying to get out of the way of that Q, but it does not work. And there it is, the solo kill for Morgan. Clid's going to make his way up, and he's like, nah. No.
I mean, I literally made this joke in game 1, like, okay, if Scion is actually pushing the turret and really disrespecting the Cassante, maybe something could happen up here. Like, I was joking, like, the Cassante should not be able to do this to a Scion. But Kingen, he forgot that even though he is Scion, the Cassante kit will let the turret do the talking, as it was in this case.
Yeah, which worked out very nicely for Morgan. That is going to be 1 kill in that column at the end of this game. That is infinity % only good stats so far in that scoreline, as the culling going to be used mainly onto life there. Speeds himself up with the Whimsy, and he'll be all right.
Crown, by the way, in this game for Zeka with, you know, the same sort of, I guess, fear that I would say that a lot of Azir players have into this Akali matchup is that you're going to get deleted.
Yeah.
You don't have an extended lead in this game. You don't have any advantages, really. So that actually really hurts the objective setup significantly for this Azir. And I thought, okay, well, you have a Zeri, right? You have a Scion, and when we get to those later parts of the game, you're not going to feel as worried about the Akali deleting you. I thought they'd have the confidence to just still go for the damage build. But because of this Crown build, I'm really liking Fredit Brion, or formerly Fredit Brion's position in this game, because Henna, Gale Force, and Dirk here. We have a 2 Drake stacked up lead. It's Infernal this time, so that's going to be great for their damage. And the Azir, not going to be making the same plays as last time in terms of just pushing the enemy mid laner away.
Yeah.
And I mean, that Crown almost broken by the belt alone just there.
Not going to be, though, as he retains the crown. Kingen, he just wants to chop trees, you know?
He did break it now, I could see on the inventory right afterwards. So he kept it from the belt, but looks like maybe a 5-pointer.
Yeah. If a tree falls in the top lane, does it make a sound, Wolf?
Not if the observers aren't watching. That's why we always have to keep checking.
Yeah, got to make sure that we keep our eye on it, because we can't not hear it.
No trees fallen just yet, as far as Jonas Strong is concerned. He's been just making sure.
Yeah. I'm glad that he's doing God's work there on that one. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Morgan comes on over, thinks about a Demolish proc, but nah. It's not what we're about.
He just likes to raise the crystals out of the ground to let everyone know he's taken Demolish.
Yeah.
Pretty Giga Chad.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And honestly, like, Morgan's pretty benevolent, you know, when it comes to lording over the top lane. He will let his opponents do some things and, like, have a turret for a little bit more time. Sometimes he wants you to stop your shenanigans. And that is right now is what just happened.
They're trying to hurt each other.
Yeah, sort of. It was very funny. All right, Clid is in this brush. I think Bro know exactly what's going on. Umpty looking to return the favor here to Zeka as well. Much more open rift this time around.
Yeah.
Instead of putting rocks in, we have taken stuff away. And Umpty's moving on over. 3 versus 3 here, or maybe 4.
Glitch showing here is really rough. Now they could actually just collapse onto the Azir. Zeka has to be so careful. Look at this trap that's set. They're actually going to fight over blue buff. I love how Brion are playing this game because they have enough advantages here to just say, all right, get out of here, Zeka. You can't win this fight. Clid, we know he's bottom side. We actually have the fast track here. Look at this culling damage.
Well, they are going to turn it there. Henna holds on to the cleanse, actually. Not feeling under too much threat. Can you blame him? As Hanwha, they're going to be able to get rid of this this vision, but they don't get their own blue buff. And the Drake's coming up in 2.5 minutes. So what we're fighting for was only, in fact, that blue buff.
I mean, in a lot of ways, they also were able to pull Viper out of lane. They pulled Zeka out of lane and put him under a lot of threat. Like, if he actually takes a riskier angle to try to go around there, maybe he dies. You know, he ends up getting deleted by the Akali. Henna's there with the culling. Clid did a great job blocking that. That's a crown dead.
Yeah, and now Karis looking to be all in. There's the Emperor's Divide, but not going to be able to get rid of Umpty here as, oh, that was very cute from Zeka. He might still be dead, but it was a cute play. There's the Shuriken backflip. Zeka's just dead. Yep.
Gotta dodge those, unfortunately, but just not fast enough. Well, you know, when I mentioned don't ban the Akali, I was very serious about it, and this has been, honestly, the biggest change up here for Henna. Like, if you ban the Akali, they get the Azir for free. This time they don't, and you actually get to have the counter matchup, and Karas is delivering, right? He already got the crown, so that's a huge win. Like, okay, Azir is building crown. this one's less of a problem in the front line. Now we can find him and execute him. This is a similar idea to what they were trying to do just moments before around the blue buff. This time they actually find the kill. And I hate to say it for Hanwha fans, but I think this game is fast approaching the trajectory for Game 3. Yes, the Zeri has some scaling options here, but the train is well and truly out of the station here for Brion's comp. Last game, they couldn't do anything on the map. They were very passive. This game, plays like this, Zeka's being greedy, way too far up in the lane. He's like, I got ult, I'm fine. Oh, you're not fine. Not if you don't dodge that backflip. Karas flashes, and nope, didn't dodge it. Nope.
And then Zeka just sort of walking around in circles and stuff like that, I think knew that he was dead. And therefore, Clid not going to be able to save him.
He was like, Clid, please! Clid's like, I can't save you.
Yeah, I don't know what you want from me, man. As Bro, they'll start up the Rift Herald for the second time. Around 39 seconds on the Infernal Drake. See whether Hanwha Life are going to be able to contest for that one. We still need to see a team fight because I kind of share what you're thinking, Wolf, and I also don't at the same time because we haven't seen a team fight, and that's kind of what will decide this game because they're the same drafts as last time. That's sort of what decided that game. Viper's just been happily farming, kind of equal this time around, but does it matter? I don't know. This is what I'm worried about.
Well, I think Karas needs to play it well. And so far, he has given me trust, right, in this game. Brion once again going to drop this Herald right before Drake, but they have a lot better of a team fight setup this time around.
Yeah, Anna, dashing forward. May get punished as the ulti is thrown to Narnia. Clid now going to have to get out of there, does so with the Arctic Assault as Morgan taking some damage from Viper, but he sort of just shrugs it off and he's absolutely fine.
Karas is coming over here now too. HLE really tracking him quite well, and he doesn't have a backline access point here.
Kingen almost lost a shield, which was like pretty huge.
10 seconds until Baron. They don't have enough damage to do it with this comp, with this Azir build, and there's vision. So I don't think you'll be able to make this trade happen, especially with how quickly Brion are actually focusing this Drake down. But they're going to try here, it looks like. This is a cool macro choice from HLE, but I just don't think it's going to work out.
Yeah, they're not going to be able to start Baron. They're actually sending Zeka towards the top side. So Hanwha will just give this one up. And Umpty's going to take that one down. So that is Soul Point going over to Bro.
Even though they tracked where Karas was super well, and they kind of made sure that the Scion was always making sure that he was in front of any potential backline targets. We're like, okay, is Karas on the flank? We know he's coming from bottom. He had TP, but he didn't TP in anything that checked. Hanwha Life Esports like, I just can't front to back this just yet. You know, Zeri only has a shield bow, or Azir only has the AP version of shield bow, basically. I mean, I'm being a bit facetious here, but you have the safety items right now, but you don't have the damage, whereas the Akali is accelerated, the Vi is accelerated. It's not a team fight you could take, and now it's Soul Point early here for Brion. And it's uncharacteristically them getting a small lead and then pushing it very hard here. Like, sometimes it's been, okay, Henna gets a lead and the game just kind of is by default against the weaker teams, like Valdez was talking about on the space. This time they've really taken this lead and made the game theirs so well. And so I'm proud of Bro.
Yeah, I'm proud of Bro as well.
A little bit of a change up here, you know?
We still need to see a little bit more because as you saw in that goal graph, started to taper off just a little bit towards the end. But with Bro now sieging in this mid lane with the control that they'll have based on their dragon control, that is definitely great news. As now, Zeka could just be taken down. He is thrown into the bouncy castle. Emperor's Divide's decent, but perfect execution is exactly that. And that is Karas on a killing spree.
Yep, and crown value not too high when you're alone under a turret. You know, gonna stay alive just a little bit longer, but still can't even side lane safely against this Akali now. And Shadow Flame is done, so a lot of extra damage, but it's too little too late. As HLE can't even siege this turret.
Yeah. You can see Kingen trying to tank the culling there, so the minion wave survives, but Karas splitting pretty nicely here towards the top side. He will leave the turret alive to make sure that it kills all of the minions.
Yeah, it's kind of a meme that Brion is the gatekeeping team, right? Because they've only beaten the East Side teams. HLE is still currently an East Side team, and if they lose this game, it'll stay that way, even if they win the series. But the macro here from Brion has been really good. They are a strong team here in the LCK. They are an LCK team by default, so, you know, I mean, that means a lot.
Yeah.
And from behind here, HLE playing really scared, and Brion are not. Just you're rolling over, letting them scale up. They're just forcing advantages, right? And if they could get this mid turret, Henna has even more of a leash to actually, zoom around and do things like what he just did to Life's health bar there. Might be able to force a flash, might be able to force an ult. He has rapid fire cannon online now. And Zeka is just desperately trying to farm up to items that
allow him to do damage.
Yeah, will allow him to compete with the Akali Burst and this Lucian that it has free reign, because if you hit Lucian with the build last game where it's Shadow Flame after Ludens, he's like half dead. Even if you're just like, your Sand Soldier touches him basically twice and it's like, all right, well, Lucian can't do anything now. You do it with this build and he actually can kind of fight back, right? And you have the Akali to then come in and execute the Azir if he's in range of the Lucian. So it's kind of unplayable at this point until you get more damage, which is going to take so much more time.
It is certainly looking a little bit rough. Hanwha, though, they do have the benefit of being in a bro game, which does give them a little bit more space, a little bit more time to get themselves to a point where they can fight. But bro need to just keep the tempo up more than they have done in the past.
And they have done that so far.
Yeah.
But let's wait and see, because like you said, I understand the skepticism.
No, I'm not fully sold yet, Wolf. I'm a little bit worried.
History repeats itself, as it mostly did in this draft, but the next Drake fight is one that Brion really wants to win to solidify their advantages here, and it does give HLE, from some perspectives, maybe an Elder Flip angle. But I think as Brion, you just want that Infernal Soul. It's going to make your Lucian, your Akali so much more lethal in upcoming team fights. And I'd say as Brion, even though you could give this up and try to get Baron trade objectives, for example, I don't think you want to in this game.
No, I think you just want to go for a fight, right? Because you're so much stronger. So opt into any sort of opportunity for that, especially if Umpty can find that flank angle. Similar one to what Clid put together on the Vi in the last game. That is the power of that champion. Decent vision, though, for Harmalife Esports around this Drake area. And Umpty's not going to be able to get that big old wraparound to make this one work. Clid trying to frontline, Kingen doing the same thing.
Karus, no angle here either. That's not where you want to be.
Yeah, double knock up there by the Scion. But he doesn't really do very much damage, so not a lot of follow-up. Things are going to be fine.
Stopwatch here for Karus too, going to give him that extra oomph, in this team fight, but he has to get into the backline somehow. Kingen's positioning is so good on Scion. It's insane how he and Clid could just make sure there's no flank angle here, and Lucian can't hit any valuable targets. Look at the health bars of all the backline. Yeah, like there's a phalanx set up here. Zeka, Viper, Life, untouched here. The Lucian is just trying to find an angle. Karus is trying to find an angle, and HLE have bought themselves a Drake fight.
They certainly have. Karus is unseen, though, for the moment in this area. Life is looking for him. They see that control ward. I think they have an idea of where the Akali is. This Drake, Harmalife Esports, you cannot give this one up. It's going to be a flip for it, though, as it does try to reset. Karus rocketing towards the side there as Clid will tank up the culling. Kingen runs on forward. The Glacial Prison, not exactly fantastic as Morgan. Going to go down relatively low. Into the backline goes the Akali, but she turns into a little critter, and now Clid has to run away. Can he actually get into the backline? The answer is no, but for Karus, the answer is absolutely yes, as the Drake goes over to Clid somehow. Not entirely sure how that one worked. Zeka got the heck out of there. Viper is dead. Bro, massive victory despite losing the Drake.
The big win for them is that Baron is up here and they have enough damage to do it, because otherwise, even with losing the members that HLE have, you feel pretty good about buying time in this game for your Zeri. And they are going to come over here and look for a contest, but this isn't. Leandri's on the Azir, and he has no idea where Karus is.
Yeah, Kingen is a brick wall, but Zeka is not. He takes a lot more damage, as now Karus goes into his Shroud, and that is a very well executed Azir.
Karus is killing it this game, Atlas. Like that last team fight on the Drake, he was so patient. They waited until they broke Crown. He waited for the perfect opportunity to get on top of Lulu. Effort ults with him. That was so clean there. And then here, once again, they turn early. They know, Zeka, you have no survivability with this Crown. And you're just going to get blown up. And even with Kingen on top of him, it doesn't matter. Watch how patient HLE plays. Karus is waiting. Breaking Crown. Okay. Hold the phone. Wait for the culling. Umpty's in. They've isolated Kingen now. And then Karus is like, backline access is mine with this knockup from Morgan. And the tidal wave comes through, so no one can turn on Karus. They can't just turn and burst him down. So beautifully played here. And then it's just desperation at this point. Viper is dead, and that's the end of the fight. And yes, Kingen somehow steals this one away, which might save the game for Harmalife Esports, but it's still going to be Baron. Going over to Brion is Zeka, no Crown.
Yeah, and it's like full desperation for Harmalife Esports, because otherwise Bro gets Infernal Soul. But if Halma Life gets one Infernal Drake, bro don't care. They don't care at all. And now, well and truly on the ropes, Halma Life Esports, and this has been uninspiring, honestly, this game so far. Bro, really turning it around, asking Halma Life to meet them as far as that tempo, and Halma are like, nah, we don't really want to. We would prefer it if things were very slow again. As Henna tanking up the turret with that culling, Clid going to get taken to half health, as Hanwha gonna have to give this one up. Baron Buff going to help Bro take that one down, and now the gold lead, 9,000 in favor of Brion.
Remember, for those watching at home, Henna's best champion this season by far has been the Lucian. And in the last game, he wasn't really given any opportunities to do anything with it. This game, he has pushed advantages. Yeah, his kill score is 1-0-4. It's not the 6-0-1 that you see from Karas, who's definitely going to end up picking up most of the POG votes, if not a unanimous vote. But I think the way Henna took his lead this game and then forced fights where Karas is able to come down because Zeka can't match those rotations, how they fought around Blue Buff, how they fought around those first two Drakes. These are changes that we're seeing here in Brion's playstyle when they have this Lucian available. Henna, just for context, is 4-3 on the Lucian. It's his most played. He just picked up his third loss in the previous game. 4-2 before today, and for like a while, I think it was 4-0 on the pick. He was looking so good on it, but regardless, this is the style of play that Brion wants to play, but they haven't played it perfectly. This is, I think, a big step forward for them, and I want to champion it because, yeah, HLE playing a little bit passively here, playing very slow. Let's not lose. Let's not let the snowball hit, but the snowball's hitting regardless, and yeah, I mean, it's a 10-1 scoreline here where you just can't recover.
Well, Infinity Edge is done, Wolf. If you wanted a bit of the Hopium, see whether Viper can actually make it work, as the culling is just going to be thrown through, and there's no real response. There's no answer for that, as Morgan going to push a wave as well. Halma Life Esports, they're going to move over. They're a bit distracted by the Cassante.
This is a 3,500 Baron power play so far.
Well, Tidal Wave going to come in here as Zeka tries to get out. The bubble's not going to find anything, though, as neither does the Glacial Prison. They use the space to try and get themselves this inner turret. They're unable to do so as the Baron is going to wear off. And Kingen really wanted Morgan to move into that, but it does not happen. 56 seconds on this Drake.
And if you really want the Hopium mask, fully attached, before you give it to anyone sitting
the fresh can. Can you bring the fresh can, Wolf?
Because always secure your Hopium mask before the assisting others. That's the policy.
Yeah, you have to make sure that you do that.
Because now, as HLE, you defended pretty well. Morgan was trying to push mid. You get those Demolish procs going. He's Cassante, though, so not the fastest pusher that you could have there in the mid lane. The defense was pretty good for HLE. They have a lot of damage on this area. They did get the Drake. If Ting doesn't steal that, we're talking about Elder here in about a minute's time, where, I don't know if they can fight this yet, even with Zeri having 3 items. Not enough damage on the Azir. But there are other ways now for HLE to have a fight that they probably shouldn't have been allowed to have this game. So no inhibitors down, no open inhibitors, no side laning champ that can push them around the map. So just one more fight, they win, and then suddenly they can put themselves on even footing where we're like, okay, Azir's got damage. So if you've got your Hopium attached tightly, this is what you're thinking about. But you have to show up to this Drake fight, and
they can't. They can't. No option. Can't get in there. The last hope, as if it is very well secured, you need to make sure that you tighten the little straps on the side.
They had
blip for an Elder.
Yeah, they had TP, like one TP ward they could use, but with those waves going through and just no vision whatsoever, you don't want to take that fight. But not taking it means that now the damage is even higher. As yes, the observer's showing us that's how you speed up returning from the fountain. As he does pick up Death Cap, that's what they were really showing us.
Yeah.
But it looked like the angle was trying to show you, you could dash to your soldier to speed up your return to lane.
You can Rift Walk over the Nexus if you're playing Kassadin.
Always E as Ezreal to get back faster after you through. And if your support is pinging you, Ezreal alive, at least you can E there a little bit faster.
The best use of Scion Ultimate is to walk back to lane fast. Which has been the main use of it in this particular game, as Bro are now shutting out vision. Halma Life Esports not really looking like they have very many answers to this, as 30 seconds and then the Baron will be under fire. Bro only 5 minutes away from being able to put together that Exodia that we will probably see. I think there will be an Elder take in this game. Because Hanwha are just turtling as best they can. They don't want to make the mistake to lose them the game. But in doing so, they're giving over everything else
Yeah, there's a little bit of hope that with the wave clear that Zeri provides, with Zeka now having a death cap, that they could defend a Baron, and then we could see that fight. If Brion also aren't willing to start the Baron and actually look for that fight and that advantage, we'll definitely see an Elder fight. But I think with the advantage they have in Vision, I mean, there's no world in which they don't start it, right? That looked really cool, but ultimately very sad.
It was. Well, this Baron is likely just going to go over for free. And then Hanwha are going to have to fight. I mean, they don't have to fight. I mean, look, I'm saying that they have to fight a lot. They don't. They can, honestly, like, just wait somewhere for Brion to kill their Nexus. But they should probably fight.
Well, now they're just confident in their abilities to defend the Baron push for 3 minutes here and then take Elder, right? Like I was saying, like, okay, you could fight for this, but it's hard. Just like I said, you could fight for the soul, but it's hard. You don't really have good vision. You don't have the ability to teleport in there, even with teleports up, because Kingen and Zeka have been still on teleports for a while, because they aren't going anywhere, you know? Yeah, sitting under these inhibitor turrets. But there is a world. All right, I'm putting the mask back on.
Okay.
Nobody paid attention until I put on the opium mask.
Yeah.
No Hanwha Life fans were paying attention. They were already waiting for Game 3, but there's a world where you defend this for 2 minutes 20, no inhibs go down, Brion not decisive, and then Elder flip territory.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you win that one, and then you have to go through a bunch of turrets. I mean, look at how healthy the outer turret is in mid lane, but you could do it. Okay, it could happen.
I mean, they have a Scion who's very tanky. Morgan also very tanky. As Hanwha, I mean, something will have to happen. There will need to be an exchange of buttons pressed in this game at some point. As there's the culling, does a lot of damage there. Henna also taking a heck of a lot back as Zeka has his crown broken, but that's going to be fine. As all right, I mean, that was something.
Just trying to defend, trying to clear these waves as best as they can. No one bottom side here. Morgan not offering too much here in terms of what he could do to push these waves in, but if he catches someone with a Q3, that's all Brion need to win this game. That's why he's not trying to set up a 1-3-1. He is Cassante. He wants to be the initiation here for a potential pick, but as a result of this, HLE defending mid, no threat bottom side, that inner turret is still up, and the dream is alive. You know, 2 minutes 20 becomes 1 minute 10, and 1 minute 10 maybe becomes 30 here if nothing happens.
Is 11,000 gold enough of a lead to win a game, Wolf? Not sure.
Usually, yes. In this case, let's wait and find out.
Yeah, maybe. Bro, gonna move on over. All right, no minion wave required. They break it open. They will take this first inhibitor. Is this the start of the dominoes collapsing? There's Morgan. He's got a dash. The tagline for Cassante as Viper chasing after Karis. Four items on the Zeri.
One Elder flip. You know, you're going to have to deal with that first wave of super minions, but
yeah, tidal wave straight onto the Scion. Priority target has been acquired as they focus down the turret. They're not interested in killing the champions here as Umpty crams his face into the Scion as well. Kingen doesn't seem too worried about it. However, he's also not doing anything to win the fight as he's taking a fair bit of damage.
They just cannot get onto the backline. The positioning and the spacing is so good, and Viper and Life are just so well protected that Karis is just like looking at him, like doing the stare down, like doing the I'm pointing at my eyes, I'm pointing at you, but and Kingen's like, me? He's like, you're pointing at me, right? Because you can't get to my Zeri, you can't get to my Lulu, and yes, one inhibitor goes down, but they are going to have an opportunity for an Elder flip. Everybody backs here on the side of Brion, and they are going to be set up for it with all their items. Serpent Fang for Lucian. Okay, we're going all the way down the rabbit hole. Okay, he's got 15,000 gold, but so does Zeri, and I know if this inhibitor wasn't down, whose side my money would be on and how this 5v5 fight can work, but it's all about Karis.
It is. It's actually crazy now because the game was like 80%. Not 94, 98% in favor of Bro, right? Like, they should have 98% of the time been able to win the game. But now I feel like it's back to 50.
Yeah. I think it's a one smite button.
Absolutely. As Karis is going to try and mess with that number a little bit. The split push is very important.
He doesn't have a good TP ward actually behind HLE. Like, he has these over here that the Observer just showed us, but nothing behind HLE.
He's just looking for the back door. He's going to teleport now. As, okay, Viper takes the full culling. Doesn't want to do that one as the tidal wave needs to be avoided. Morgan gets into that backline. Here's the ulti from Viper. He's still alive. The double kill instantly for Viper as he gets over the wall. Triple kill for Karis. Can he find the penta is the question as Henner is now diving onto Viper. And here it is. Never mind. As Viper stays alive, Morgan gonna go down so low, but eventually he finishes it off. As it's 4 of a kind for the Akali. K'Sante picks off the off one. He's the high card in this particular game of Texas Hold'em, and he will now take down these Nexus turrets. We are going to a game 3.
All Breon fans holding their breath. Oh, the Hanwha fans tightening that mask. But you know what? At the end of the day, really good tidal wave, a great culling from Hannah. And then Karis just comes in for cleanup. He didn't have a great flank ward, but he was able to just walk straight into the heart of HLE because they had to hold the Drake. They had to actually start that one up and be in a rough spot because if they don't, they lose no matter what. Karis is going to end the game by himself. So we're going to game 3, but I think Breon with some good changes here in draft, they basically ran it back with a few improvements, and they were the ones they needed. There you go.
Yeah, he's chugging the yogurt. Love that.
He says, I will do a one-shot for every game they win.
He's got a, you see?
He's got one more in his pocket.
He's a Berlin. No, there was one sitting next to him. He had it ready. He had it ready to chug. You're not allowed to drink that during the next game, buddy, because we'll put you back on the camera. It was a very admirable performance by Breon in that one. Hanwha Life Esports, though, I mean, we need to start doing some things, guys. We need to start playing some video games.
I think the crown build here and the Akali pick was so critical here. Zeka just not able to do a lot of damage. Viper coming online so late into the game, and that last fight looked beautiful for him, but doesn't matter because you're forced into the Elder. You don't have a front line because your front line is trapped early. The tidal wave was really good from effort too, with kind of hitting the culling. Like everything just came together for Breon in game 2 so well, and I think Hanwha might still take this series, but some changes in the draft will need to be made.
Oh, absolutely. And if they keep up that level of play, though, I think it's bro all the way. You can see Umpty and Edgar, both of them looking well and truly motivated here. As ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to a short break. When we get back, the space and that deciding game 3.